So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining with us today. This is third series of our episode for On Campus, and today we have our two guests with us. We have Adelina. She is Center Director on campus. Unfortunately, Laura couldn't join us today. She is Head of Progression on campus, along with Pranesh Kumar Sinha. He is South Asia Manager on campus. At the end of this session, we will also be taking some question and answer from the participants. So if the participants have any questions, any queries related to on-campus London Birkbeck, they can type in the questions in the chat box. Now I'll play a small video for on-campus London. So let me just know if you all can see my screen. Is it visible to everyone?
Yes, please.
Hello, I'm Adelina, Centre Director at On Campus London, and I'm really pleased that you will be joining us in September to come and study in the UK and progress to a top-ranked UK university. At On Campus London, we are based here at Birkbeck College, and this is where you will have all of your classes, and you really will be in the centre of University of London student life. Birkbeck is based in Bloomsbury, which is in central London, and it really is the academic heart of London. You will be able to experience really what it's like to be a student in the heart of the city, where you have access to the University of London Students' Union, and also, of course, you are around the corner from the British Museum, the British Library, and of course the famous streets such as Tottenham Court Road, Oxford Street and King's Cross, all around the corner. Please make sure you follow us on our Facebook accounts, our Instagram accounts, and then for any of your other questions, please contact our on-campus admissions, and please do make sure that you check for all the pre-arrival information that will be coming your way, and we really look forward to meeting you in person in September.
I was on mute. So now I kindly request Laura and Pranesh Adelina and Pranesh to take this session forward now.
Yes, please, Adelina, if you could just take over with the presentation.
Of course, of course, of course. Thank you very much, Jyoti, for that wonderful video introduction. You don't need my presentation now. Thank you, everybody, for joining and welcome. My name's Adelina. I'm the Centre Director for On Campus London. And today I will talk to you about On Campus London, why students join us, the opportunities, the courses, and a little bit about London life. And then, of course, please feel free to type in your questions into the chat box, and we will try to answer them at the end of the presentation, because I won't be able to see them during the presentation. Just some housekeeping to start. Could I please ask everybody to go on mute, press the microphone button, so we don't hear the background noise, okay? So if you're joining, please press the mute button so we don't hear background noise. And if you could take yourselves off video unless you're answering questions or unless you're asking questions at the end, okay? And I will now share my screen with you. One moment. It's loading the presentation, and now you should be able to see the presentation. Can I have a yes from someone, please, to say you can see it?
Yes, please.
Fantastic. Thank you, Pranesh. Yes. So, why do students come to London? Why do they come to On Campus London? Well, They come to us for several reasons, but the top two are that firstly, students want to study in the world's #1 university city, London. So London has been named year after year the top place in the world to come and study. And also students come to us because they want to progress to a top UK university. With On Campus London, it's about choice. So students have choice. We take students through UCAS, where they have up to 5 choices for undergraduate degrees at universities in London, but also outside of London. In 2019, we progressed to over 100 universities in the UK. Within London, we have a very special relationship with several University of London colleges, some of whom you can see here. So Birkbeck College that you saw in the video is where we teach all of our students, and it is surrounded by several famous University of London colleges. So SOAS, for example, UCL, LSE, they're all within the same square. So that's why we really are part of the University of London life. So we have a special relationship with Birkbeck College. Also Queen Mary, which I'm sure you've all heard of, a top ranking Russell Group University in London. Goldsmiths, we have a special relationship with Royal Holloway, beautiful campus in London. The Courtaulds Institute of Art and the Royal Veterinary College, #1 in the world for veterinary science. And we also have a special relationship with the University of London itself. I will talk more about the colleges and what a special relationship means as we go through the presentation. So I mentioned that we're in the heart of academic London. We are. Pranish has said he can't see the slides.
Yes, we can. We can.
You can see them. Perfect. Thank you, Pranish. Do let me know if they suddenly disappear. I can see them. That's all I can see. So when students come to London, you're in Bloomsbury. You're in zone 1 of London, so you couldn't be more central, and location is everything. We have all of the famous colleges I've mentioned around us, but also we're on Tottenham Court Road. Of course, a very famous road for shopping. We're round the corner from King's Cross, a very famous area for eating, drinking, walking along the canal and shopping. We're round the corner from Oxford Street. Of course, you've heard of Oxford Circus. And we also have several landmarks, museums that our students can access for free. For example, the British Museum, we're on the doorstep of the British Museum, as well as the British Library. There are just so many galleries and museums, free access for students to enjoy. And also being based in Bloomsbury and at Birkbeck College means that we are very next to the University of London Student Union, where students can be part of the university, can access all the different social events that take place. Everything really is on our doorstep. So it really is a magnificent view into what it's like to be a university student in London and in the UK as well. At On Campus London, we're very, very lucky to be able to offer first-class accommodation. You can find out all of this information in our On Campus London brochure, on the website, by talking to your agent if you're a student, and through our general sales manager, Pranesh, on this call. We have a range of options, all very near, in terms of very near the underground stations, and then around 20 minutes to half an hour on the underground. So we have Piccadilly Court, we have St Pancras Way, Emily Bowes, we have a new place, Riley House, which is specifically for under 18s. So if you are under 18 or you have students who are interested in coming to us who are under 18, then we have secure accommodation in place and an under 18s package in place to support students. So what does On Campus London give you? Well, at On Campus, at all of our On Campuses, you will have outstanding teaching. On Campus London has been open for 11 years, going on 12 years now. So that is thousands of students that we've helped to support going on to top ranking universities. Our teaching staff are long term. So we have teaching staff and admin staff who've been with us since the beginning, which is always a good sign of a very good place to work. And all of our teaching staff are fully qualified, have degrees, masters, PhDs in their subjects. So you know that you're receiving the best academic content you can. And of course, because we've done this for so long, we know exactly what students need in terms of academic content to prepare to go on to their chosen degree. So that's one aspect of what we give you. The next is we give you expert guidance to progress to your chosen university. And that comes through our higher education team. We have Laura, who's our head of progression, who can't be here this morning. We also have Olivia, who's new to On Campus London, who is on this call. And our HE team support you with the whole UCAS process. So from the moment students arrive, our higher education team will talk to you, find out where you want to go, what you want to do, where's the best choice university for the academics that you have. We will guide you to choose your 5 universities. We will then guide you through the personal statement process, through the whole application process, as well as giving you weekly higher education lessons to help you prepare. So that's the second ingredient for success in progressing to university. The third, and last but not least, is your English. So English support is everything. Even if you have a good IELTS, you've managed to get your 6, your 6.5, your 7, you can always improve. It's a language. And when you speak languages, we're always looking to improve our language level, especially our writing skills and our reading skills for university level. So you will have English, you will have outstanding support. You will either sit an IELTS exam or our on-campus test of English, which is accepted by SOAS, Queen Mary, Royal Holloway, Birkbeck, to name a few. So that's what I mean by special relationship with our University of London colleges. They know us, they know our students, and they accept our own English test. So there's no need for an IELTS with some of the University of London colleges. But we offer both. We offer IELTS and we offer the on-campus test of English. So really, that's my message. On Campus London gives you those 3 ingredients to be successful. They're all as important as each other. Without the academic grades, you can't progress. Without very good English, you can't progress. Without the support and guidance from our team and a winning personal statement, you can't progress. So that's what you have, which is very unique to London and On Campus London, all of those services for you. We have a proven track record. I've talked about that we've been open for nearly 12 years and we've successfully progressed thousands of students to the top ranking in the UK. I've mentioned that you're part of university from day one. You will be a Birkbeck student with your Birkbeck ID. Even if you don't progress to Birkbeck afterwards, that's where you will have your lessons. And that's a really good experience for students because you use the library. Now, Birkbeck is a top world research university in the UK. So you can imagine their library is one of the best in the UK because of the research that takes place. So you have access to that. If you're an engineering student, you have access to the world-class laboratories to do your practical experiments. And you will have access to everything that Birkbeck has. So that's what we mean about being a university student from day one. And finally, we have what's called quality assurance. We are governed by a government body, the QAA, who make sure and come and inspect us to say, yes, you're doing an excellent job. well done. Continue to do an excellent job in supporting your students. So you can be assured that when you or your students come to us, they are receiving quality as well as care for their studies. So what do we offer? We offer several courses. I won't go through them in detail. As I mentioned, they're all on our website, On Campus London, on our On Campus website. They're in our brochure, and your agents will know our courses. And of course, Pranish is an expert on our courses too. But to give you an overview, we offer the undergraduate foundation level in several subjects of business, engineering, life sciences, humanities and social sciences. And for this course, you will always study 3 academic modules and English to be successful. We offer the International Year 1 in business. This is an opportunity to access the equivalent, so the same as your first year degree business in a university. We offer International Year 1, and if you're successful in passing all 6 academic modules and your English, you can progress to year 2 of a business degree at some universities in London. Coventry University London is very popular, Westminster and Brunel. They're the main universities where we offer year 2 progression for business. We also offer Master's Foundation, again in a wide variety of subjects: business, life sciences, engineering, humanities, social sciences. And that's to prepare students for going on to postgraduate studies in the top ranking universities. Now, I mentioned at the beginning that we have a special relationship with the University of London, and we do. We offer a course which is unique to On Campus. So no other On Campus centre offers this, and actually it's unique in foundation. And this is the University of London International Foundation Programme. The content of this course is written by London School of Economics, which I'm sure you've heard of. And students who are on this programme have access to the University of London virtual learning environment, so a world-class platform for learning. It's our teachers, nonetheless, that teach this course. And it really is aimed at really top-level students. And by that, I mean students who have A grades in every single subject, but especially maths for stats, also anything related to economics, business, law. We are really looking for the student who has excelled, done particularly well, won awards for academics in their schools, but also may have won awards in other areas, for example, debates, speaking groups, or maybe in sports, represented their school or country in something. So it's a very unique course for those really high-flying students who want to try and progress to London School of Economics. So there is the opportunity to progress to the London School of Economics for some students. You can apply for this course and you would need to do an English exam, a maths exam, and have an interview with myself to check that you're at the right level and that it's the right course for you as well. And students on this course would study 4 academic modules. Maths and stats is compulsory for everybody, whether you're a humanities student looking for law or whether you're an economics and business student. You need maths for stats, and it's a very difficult, enjoyable course. Economics, international relations, sociology, law, pure maths. You need to study 4 subjects and then English, and have IELTS to a very high level, so minimum 7.5. With this course, you have the opportunity to apply to London School of Economics. You would need to be invited by them for an interview and for their entrance exam. We have had students who've progressed to LSE, so we are aware of how to support students with the application process. And this course also offers students the opportunity to access law at Queen Mary. Now, Queen Mary is top ranked for several subjects, but law is top 5 in the UK, which is amazing. So that means it's very competitive. So that means they're very selective about who they take. So unfortunately, through our own foundation, they don't accept for law, they accept for everything else. But through this foundation, they accept for law. So if you have students, or you are a student who's interested in law and you're a top high flyer and you would like to go to Queen Mary, then this would be the course for you. You can find out more information on this course on our website and through agents and through Pranesh. I've mentioned this is just telling you more information about the International Foundation Programme and the subjects. So that's it in terms of our programmes and on the On-Campus London highlights. I'm now going to talk to you more about progression, which would normally be Laura, our head of progression. She's the expert. So if I have any questions today about universities and where to progress, if it's outside of the University of London colleges, I may not be able to answer because our expert isn't here, but we will take note of your questions in the Teams chat and Laura will kindly answer those when she's back in the office and able to. So let's start with our University of London partners. I've talked about Birkbeck. Birkbeck is very unique. So Birkbeck offers evening time courses, and this is unique because it allows students to work in the daytime during their degree, which is an excellent option to give you work experience, really, that goes hand in hand with degrees, more often than not in business areas. And Birkbeck excels in business. Its business school is very well known. It also excels in humanities. So law is a very, very popular choice. And it's a very popular choice for our master's students, who tend to be the students that want to work, gain work experience through the day. But our on-campus London classes are in the daytime, just so that you know the difference there, because I've mentioned we teach there from Birkbeck. That's all daytime teaching, not evening during your foundation. We have Goldsmiths. Goldsmiths is famous worldwide, especially for art and media. I believe media is 7th in the world there. My slide's too small for me to read, but 7th in the world for media and communications. Goldsmiths is really well known for graduates who work in Apple, Google, BBC, all of those big names that you've heard of. We have a number of students who progress there year after year for art, design, media, comms, business and humanities. A very, very popular choice with our arts and humanities students. Royal Holloway, another popular choice, especially for business. It's a beautiful campus, not in Zone 1, but in the countryside, really, of London. It's in the southwest, in Richmond. Beautiful countryside, beautiful area, and a very old, traditional looking English university. Still easy to get into the centre of London, but for those students that maybe don't want to be in Zone 1 craziness and busyness for their studies, but still want to be in London, a very, very popular choice. It does very well for student satisfaction. Queen Mary, I've mentioned several times. I don't think it needs an introduction. We send hundreds of students to Queen Mary every year. And then these two, the Courtauld Institute of Art and Royal Veterinary College, are very specific. So if you are a student, you have students interested in biomedical, then they can apply for RVC. Or if you have students who are very interested in a couple of art degrees that we can progress on to, then we have the Courtauld as options. So these partnerships mean, as I mentioned, that the international office know our students. They accept applications from our students, which is an advantage because really students without a foundation will not be able to get places at these prestigious universities. So they accept applications from our students. 90%, over 90% of students who meet the academic grades for the colleges, usually A's and B's, meet the IELTS or on-campus test of English requirement, usually 6.5 for undergraduate foundation. They will get their places, which is magnificent. And the partnership means that the international office get to know you, get to know the students. So there will be webinars during the pandemic. We've had several webinars with the university on Saturdays. Now we're open in London and everything's open. It's busy and lovely again to see students everywhere. So our students will be visiting these universities, so you can really get a feel for what it's like as a foundation student and decide if it's the right university for you. So because of our partnership at On Campus London, we're able to do this. I'm also really pleased to say we have a partnership with SOAS, which is very well known for humanities and law and politics, and also City University. We have a partnership with them. So City University, well ranked, well known for its business school CAS. So we have students who progress there. So there are many options for those top ranking in London through us at On Campus London. And here gives you an idea of the universities where students have progressed from India. King's College, of course. I haven't mentioned King's College. We progress a lot of students to King's College. We do not have a formal relationship, a special relationship with them, but they know us. It's very, very, very competitive. But they do accept students with the top grades, but it's case by case with King's College. But you can see we've progressed to King's for life sciences, biomedical, which is amazing. We've got a whole range here. Queen Mary for engineering, Royal Holloway for business, Birkbeck for masters and humanities for law, which I mentioned, IY1. We've progressed to Birkbeck for management. That would be year 1, not year 2. And King's College again for humanities, digital culture, and biomedical. Biomedical is very popular at King's College, as is business. So you can see that we progress students, Indian students, to the top ranking, just as we do with all of our other nationalities as well. We are diverse. We have around 400 to 500 students a year of several different nationalities, over 50 different nationalities. So whether you're studying online this year or face-to-face, more and more students, we've got hundreds coming face-to-face this year, which is magnificent. You will meet students from other cultures as well as your own. I've talked about London, and at the beginning I mentioned that we progressed to outside of London because, of course, students change their minds. You may come to London and go, I've really enjoyed my year in London, but actually I now want to discover a different part of the United Kingdom. Or you may have another top ranking university in mind that isn't in London. Fine. No problem. We have progressed to all of these top universities you see here, and we do each year: Durham, Loughborough, Warwick, Glasgow, Edinburgh, York, Exeter, Leeds, Birmingham, Bristol, Swansea, Manchester. All these names that you know, we sent students there and we've supported. So this slide gives you an overview of the higher education support that you will receive from the team, from Laura and Olivia, as well as the tutors on Campus London. So basically, the first term of studies is really the busiest term. As I mentioned, we talk to you as soon as you arrive to get to know you. What's your school background? What are your academic grades? Where do you want to go? Why? What do you want to study? And we gather this information because we're the experts in being able to guide with where you are most probably likely to get an offer. So if you are an A grade student and you are applying for Queen Mary, King's, etc., we can say, okay, we can understand that. If maybe the grades are around C grade, we will say, okay, We like that you really are ambitious and really want to try and get to a top ranking. But what we're going to have to do is see how you get on in your first term of studies to see if you can get those top grades. Now, remember, it's all about choice. You have 5 choices. We will always ask you to choose one of our partners in your first top 2 because they know our students, and you need a firm choice and you need an insurance choice. And then as we get to know you and you get to know universities and courses, we will guide you even further. But the first term is seeing how you settle in, how you get on with the academic content, what your predicted grades are. So kind of around November time, your tutors will be looking at predicted grades. So that's the grades that we think you will get at the end of the year to be able to progress to university and put on your UCAS form. We will guide you through UCAS. So we know that agents help with UCAS applications for students. That's fine. That's fine. As long as the higher education team know all about the application as well, so that we can check that everything's correct and all the support is in place. We need to know where students are applying so we can support. We can't support without that. And that's what we're here for as well, to work together and to support students. And then throughout the year, the offers will start coming in from the universities. Of course, for a September student, you would sit exams in June, the final exams, and that will be when you will have your final grades, and those conditional offers will hopefully turn into unconditional through UCAS. So we're there throughout your journey, throughout your student journey, from pre-arrival, arrival, to settling in, to completing your application, to your final exams. We're there all the way through. And that's really it. I've talked a lot. I hope the information has been useful for you. I'm going to have a quick look at the chat box to have a look at the questions. While I'm having a look at the questions, Pranish, is there anything you would like to add regarding maybe COVID-19 travel and where we are with everything, please?
Yes, please. First of all, thanks for the great presentation, Alina. Secondly, I really love the slide where you had shared the information of India students, progressing to those top-notch universities in the UK. So that was great. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to give a quick presentation that would be regional based on entry requirements. Just a quick overview. And yes, I'll also give some updates on what's happening in terms of COVID-19. So just give me a second and I'll start sharing the presentation.
Perfect. Shall I I'll look at the questions then while you do that, Pranish, and try and answer them. So we have a question that says, if the students can work in the daytime and attend university in the evening, still they stick with 20 hours per week rule. So it's always dependent on your visa. Yes, is the short answer. It's different for foundation and for university, but whatever you have on your visa, it will say how many hours you can work, and it depends on the level as well, whether you're an undergraduate or postgraduate. But you will have those rules on your visa. So then, yes, you can work the hours that your visa stipulates.
Sure,
Okay.
that's a good answer. And one thing that I need to just need to reinforce over here is that when students are doing foundations with us specifically, you could work for 10 hours in a week. And yes, when you would progress to the university, your working hours would change to 20 hours per week. Yes, please. Yeah.
Thank you, Pranesh. Thank you. And then we have Rahul Raj. Is academic IELTS accepted? Absolutely. If you mean accepted, so we accept IELTS for our entry, which Pranesh can talk about. You will need that or a secure English language test to come onto our foundation. And then while you're studying with us, we will teach you IELTS and our on-campus test of English. And then you will sit either both depending on where you want to go. Or if you just want to go to Queen Mary, Royal Holloway, Birkbeck, SOAS, City, then you only need to do on-campus test of English. If you want to go to Durham, Manchester, outside of UOL, then you would need to sit an IELTS. But we will tell you what you need to do once we get to know you.
Yes, and from our point of view, when you start doing programs with us, most importantly is that for visa purposes, you need to do either an IELTS UKVI or a PT Academic UKVI. So that's really important to understand. Foundations means CELT exams, secure English language test, and for students to start with us, they should either have an IELTS UKVI or a PT Academic UKVI, please.
Absolutely. Thank you, Pranesh. And then we have, following on from the work, how many days per week the students can attend the course. Do students have the flexibility in attending courses per week? Okay, no flexibility. So when you're a foundation student, you are a full-time student, okay? That means you will have up to 25 hours a week, and you need that to get those top grades, as well as independent study. You have a fixed timetable. So you will have classes from Monday to Friday, between the hours of 9 to 5. So not all day 9 to 5, but between those hours. So it really is full time. So to be honest, our foundation students don't tend to work. It's when you get to university, when your timetable becomes less, that then students start to work, to be honest, because the course is intensive and students want to get the best grades possible, the A grades, to then go on to university. Okay, so I hope that helps answer that question there. And then we have Rahul, is there any merit-based scholarship available? Pranesh will be able to answer that.
Yes, we do have scholarships up to £3,000 for our undergraduate foundation programs, IY1s, and pre-masters 3 terms courses, which are 9 months program. And obviously, we would definitely look into the student's profile before offering these discounts. Yes.
Brilliant, thank you. Now I should stop sharing. Hopefully I've stopped sharing and I stopped presenting. There we go. And you will be able to share your presentation, Pranesh.
Yes, please. Thank you so
There
much.
we go.
So what I'm basically going to do is, I hope you can see the slides.
We can.
We can.
Yes, we can.
So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to give a more regional based approach. Thanks to Adelina for letting us know everything she could have about on campus London, a place where our students come and study and they progress to the topmost universities in the UK. It's our most popular hub and spoke center. This has already been explained by Rina, but just a quick recap. Obviously, when you come and study with us, you can pick up different pathways for yourself. Could be business, could be engineering, social sciences, humanity, life sciences. Irrespective whether you're doing a foundation or a pre-master, you pick up you pick up a pathway for yourself. You then study the modules as per your pathway, and then you progress to the universities successfully on meeting their conditions. Now, on this slide, I'm going to explain two things. One is obviously our intakes and then the course fee. Now, intakes, if I give it a more regional approach, two intakes are more popular. One is September and then January. Obviously, we also have a November start, which is 3.5 terms, a little bit more than 9 months. Usually the foundations are 3 terms, and 3 terms equals 9 months. You could see that if a student typically gets into our business, humanities, or social sciences foundations at on campus London, the fee would be 79.85. But as I said, we are open to up to £3,000 bursary or even more, depending on how the profile of the student. Similarly, engineering, physical sciences, and life sciences tuition fee is just a bit higher, but we must know the reasons that these students use lab facilities, and that's one of the reasons that the fees are higher. So yes, the upcoming intake from India point of view would definitely be January, and that would run till the 13th of August, and then you're ready for your progressions. University of London International Foundation Program, a classic program with us, and Adelina had appraised us about its uniqueness. This program has just one intake that has passed by now, started on 20th of September, and that was the tuition fee for the program. International year ones, yes, a number of intakes. Again, typically, if you look into India as a region, the more popular intakes are the September and the Januaries, and you can see both of these. I'm sorry. So international year one, we have both September and January intakes. Again, September's three terms and January 3 terms equals 9 months, and that's the course fee. And over and above the course fee, we have our generous scholarships. Pre-masters, a similar approach with a number of intakes. The number of intakes increases over here for a simple reason that we offer a 2 terms and a 3 terms pre-masters. A 2 terms is a 6 months and a 3 terms are 9 months pre-masters. And you could see that in January, we are offering both a 6 months pre-masters and a 9 months pre-masters. Obviously, the tuition fee would rely on the length of the program. So for 3 terms, it's 17,490 and 2 terms, 11,990. As I would again like to reinstate that we could offer quite generous bursaries over the course fee. Entry requirements for India. So if I'm applying for an undergraduate foundation program, I have two different point of entries. One is I'm a class 11 passed out student, would still allow me to start with a foundation leading to bachelor, but has to be 60%, class 12 50%. There was a question in the chat box regarding English requirements, so you could find the answer over here. We need students with an IELTS UKVI 5 with no elements less than 4.5, and writing must be at least 5, and we also accept PT UKVIs overall 43 with no elements below 43. So those are the typical requirements for an undergraduate foundation program leading to 3 years of bachelor's. The University of London International Foundation Program, as it was raised at the time of the presentation, that it's a classic program. It needs students to be really good at studies. From India, we need students to be past class 12th with 60% at least. It's a very competitive program, and students around the world, or some very good students around the world, join us for that program. English requirements thus are a little bit higher, 5.5 with no elements less than 5, and writing needs to be 5.5, and similarly PT academic UKVIs overall 46 plus, minimum 46 in reading, writing. One important thing about the UL foundation programs is that a student needs to do math, stats, and English test, and has to be really good with stats. And there's an interview with the on-campus center head, which is Adelina. So these are additional requirements for UL IFP foundation program. Now, the international year one, academics needed a class 12's 50%, English requirements simple, 5.5 with no elements less than 5, and PT UKVI 43 with no elements less than 43. The pre-masters, which we popularly call as master's foundation program, a student needs to have passed bachelor's, please, with at least second class. Or if a student is from an elite university, take example of University of Delhi, that falls into the category of elite university, a past class could also be accepted. Now, whether a student would get 2 terms or 3 terms, which is 6 months or 9 months, depends on the student's English. So let's say we have a student with IELTS UK, we have 6 with no elements less than 6, could qualify for a 2 terms pre-masters, But if a student is not that good at English and has 5.5 with no single element less than 5.5, would then qualify for a 9 months pre-masters, starting both 2 terms and 3 terms in January. We've already said that we offer bursaries up to £3,000. One important thing from India's perspective is the gap years, because many a time students do ask. It's an important compliance requirement, and we do not accept students with more than 3 years of gap. Just to give you a fine example, that in January we would 12s or bachelor's 2018, so you would still qualify to make an application with us. Last but not the least, we have these accommodations, Piccadilly Court, St. Pancras Way, Emily Dawes Court, and you can see typically the fee for accommodation, and you could also see that these are quite near to on campus London when it comes to distance, because distance is something that students usually take into account at the time of fixing accommodations. So that was, so there's also Camden residence and LinkedIn residence. These are the two other additional accommodations that we have for on-campus London students. And thank you. This is what I needed to present. And please, if you have any applications for on-campus London or aspiring student listening to us, um, is really triggered to make an application with on-campus London, please get in touch with uni experts. Many thanks for this, and that's it from my end. Uh, Please, if there are any other questions, we are happy to answer those.
So
I can
Pranesh,
see.
we will take questions.
There are some in the chat box as well, I can see.
Yeah.
The first question that I can see, so some questions were answered by us, and now uh, I'm going to pick up the questions that we haven't answered. Please share what scholarships are available for students. As I said, we do offer scholarships up to £3,000. If you're very good, we could still look into further scholarships, please, on case-to-case basis. How much students have to pay for CAS? A very good question. Now, what we need students to pay for CAS is the first term fee. The first term fee is needed to be paid. It's approximately half of the course fee. To answer the question best, it's approximately half of the course fee that a student needs to pay for CAS. What is the eligibility for pharmaceutical courses, if any? I think this should be answered by Adelina. But if you're talking from India's perspective, so the requirements would remain the same. So let's say if I have passed out my class 12s, if I have passed out my class 12s, we would need a student to have 50% in class 12s. One, second, they need to meet the English requirements to study that program. And if a student is looking basically for masters at pharmacy, then needs to then again have that second class thing from the university and should meet the English requirements. Now, on top of it, if Adelina has to add any other additional requirements for pharmacy, Adelina, I would like to hear from you.
It would be, thanks Pranesh. So for pharmacy, it would be undergraduate, it would be UFP Life Sciences. So as Pranesh said, you would meet the entry requirements for the foundation, and then we're usually looking at top grades. So you're looking at being able to achieve AAA, ABA, along with 6.5 IELTS. That's your typical for undergraduate to progress to pharmacy. And at master's level, then passing your master's foundation modules again with no less than 60% overall. So that's kind of the guidelines for pharmacy. It's very competitive, and usually for top ranking, very high grades as well, like all the sciences.
Okay, the next question is, any compliance interview take? If yes, what questions can be asked? That's again a very decent question. Now, for when it comes to compliance interviews, please note that any India student who has a study gap of 2 years or less, we waive them off on compliance interviews. Point number one. Point number two, we do not accept students with more than 3 years of gap. So if you are a student with more than 2 years of gap, but then less than 3 years, you will be interviewed by us. We do 2 rounds of compliance interview. So we are giving 2 chances to our students. If a student has performed pretty good at the first interview, we waive off the second interview. If a student hasn't performed well during the first interview, we would invite the student for the last and the second round of interview. Is it Duolingo accepted? If not, please mention which other English requirements are available. So Sonam, to answer your question, we do not accept Duolingo, please. And the other English requirements were shared by me through the presentation few minutes back. Please note that we accept IELTS UKVI and PT Academics UKVI. This is serious. This is important because CELs are needed to join foundation programs. So CELs are Secure English Language Test and IELTS UKVI and PT Academic UKVI are CELs. So please keep that at the back of the mind that a student needs to do CEL. The next question is, what is the eligibility the student has to progress to foundations or masters after completing the pathway courses? Adelina, a question for you, please.
No problem. I'm just trying to understand more detail on this one. So basically, students have to pass all of their academic modules, and they have to pass their English. And that means equivalent of 6 IELTS if for undergraduate. So that's to gain your on-campus London transcript certificate, if you like, to pass the program. Obviously, to progress to university, it completely depends on which university you want to progress to. So what students need to do is they need to find the course where they want to go, and they will say, so for example, let's take business at Queen Mary. Let's take accounting and finance at Queen Mary, very popular. So accounting and finance at Queen Mary, it would state AAB plus 6.5 IELTS. So it's really dependent on the student knowing what academic grades they need to be able to meet the requirements of the university they choose.
Yes, exactly. It's a good clarification. Any other questions, please, if any?
No. So I guess Pranesh, that's it from the questions. Thank you, Angelina. Thank you, Pranesh. Thank you, Olivia, for joining us today. We have now come to an end for this webinar. That was a very wonderful webinar from your side. So now we will end the session today.
Thanks,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Jyoti. Thanks to you. Thanks to Uni Experts. Thanks to Adelina, Olivia for joining us from on campus London. Thanks to Mother. And yes, one last thing. On campus London, please try and make applications as soon as you can for January intake. And one thing is very definite when you plan to study at on campus London is that you are a student who's aspiring to get into top universities in the UK. And if that's what you're aspiring to, you are most welcome to come and study at on campus London for the QL. We are open to any sort of questions even after this. But thank you so much for on campus. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your time. And we look forward to seeing students in London. Definitely. Take care, everyone.
Take care.
Thank you, Angelina.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.